Welcome to the Tom Style Show. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate all the support. And speaking of support, we have received tons of support in India, even though we taped the show in Silicon Valley in California. But we have a lot of fans in India, and we love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate it, and we want you to come back. Today, we're going to talk about something that's pretty viral. That's about Gautam Adani. A few weeks ago, or probably a week ago, he was the third richest man in the world. He was close to Elon Musk. He was competing with either Elon or Jeff Bezos, or he surpassed the Ambanis and everything. So it's insane wealth. The rise of Adani happened in a span of around 2 to 3 years during the pandemic. Before that, he was relatively unknown in the billionaire community of India, but during the pandemic, it's a meteoric rise of Gautam Adani in the finance and the business world. Now, you guys might say, okay, Tom, so let's get to the point. What do you think about this situation? What's your reaction? So, okay, here's the thing. I support Adani. I know all over social media, everywhere, there's millions of people angry about the whole situation. Hindenburg research is a great thing, blah, blah, blah. We should have more investigation in the Adani group, etc., etc. I will explain to you why I think positively about the Adani enterprises, the Adani group, the Adani companies. The thing is, let's unpack slowly. So let's talk about Adani. What is this? Gautam Adani is the founder of Adani Group. The group consists of tons of businesses. I don't even know how many. They have everything. It's a conglomerate in India. They have from airport management to the port management to electricity generation through gas to coal mines in Australia, coal mines in India, the energy pipelines all around India. They got the logistics business. They have the airport security. They, anything, even real estate, media. They bought a stake in NDTV. They are in defense now. So wherever you look, Adani is there. Now, this is not very uncommon in developing nations like India, where these conglomerates usually develop. Where in America, it's very concentrated focus. If you're a tech entrepreneur, you're focused on tech. If you're entrepreneur in the retail sector, you're in the retail sector, you don't go around and buy everything. But it's quite different, whether it's India or sometimes in China as well, or in Vietnam, whether it's Vin Group or whatever it is. These are always conglomerates. So Adani is a conglomerate company. 7 of these companies are publicly listed. Now, so it's not a surprise. People shouldn't be blown away that 7 of these companies publicly listed, and all of a sudden, all of them significantly increased in value, inflating the net worth of whole Adani Group to several $100 billion. And Gautam Adani's personal net worth around $130 billion. It used to be, not anymore. He lost 40-50% of that, so that kind of sucks. But so let's go into the why this happened, right? So there are a couple of things. Hindenburg Research is run by Nate Anderson, one of the short sellers. So it's not they're doing some free service to the world and writing some research paper on Gautam Adani. They are doing it because they have a short position in the Adani stocks and bonds. So with the drop, when the significant drop after the research came out, I'm sure they're a huge beneficiary of that, and it must have pocketed billions of dollars, or at least hundreds of millions, easy out of the drop from the Adani stocks. Now, that's where a lot of the media coverage comes in. Oh, okay, they mentioned this. These are the points on the research, right? Now, one other thing they mentioned, which is Adani runs a lot of the shell companies. A lot of the shell companies that owns the Adani stock are run by his brothers, Vinod Adani, and run by his relatives and the family members. So he's basically like a mafia boss, and he has this whole family that's running the show, and part of it could be correct because in the response, Adani also responded, that guy is my brother, so what's the problem? But, I think there's some rules. You need to disclose related parties, things like that, over here in SEC or over there in SEBI or something like that in India. So there's some disclosures rules, so he should have mentioned that, things like that. Now, the interesting thing is not just because it's a bunch of shell companies. I think they're saying 38 shell companies all over Cyprus and Mauritius and UAE, all over the place. The important thing to to remember here, Mr. Gautam Adani himself owns 70 to 75% of all these publicly listed companies under the Adani umbrella. So he himself owns 70 to 75%. So there's only 25% left there for the public, for the general population. That includes institutions, banks, even some of their promoters. That includes and that includes these shell companies that are buying up at a pretty high valuation, things like that, controlled by the Adani. There's some round tripping might be going on, things like that. So basic allegation is stock manipulation charges. Now, general public in India actually probably owns less than 5 to 3% of the Adani stocks. So there's not a big situation in the market. In this kind of situation, you can see very clearly that there's not enough available stock. That means there's not enough float. If not, the prices can go drastically high. And that's what happened in 2020, 2021, 2022. It went up significantly. And then when prices go up that fast, it also comes down that fast because the float is very, very small, right? So now it dropped pretty significantly and people are panicking and things like that. Now, Adani did a response, 413 pages. That's basically a bunch of lawsuits that they have won, things like that. Now, their response wasn't very detailed because Hindenburg knows how to put these things, how to get the media attention, how to provide evidence, and their research was good, and Adani's response wasn't as good, so people are not very impressed, et cetera, right? So they're like, oh, it's a conglomerate, and blah blah blah. It has so much of the good things that we have done for India, all that. Don't get fooled by the Manhattan-based Hindenburg. Now, okay, here's where I have my perspective. I'm like, wait a second. So what are you guys panicking about? Like, you were just blown away by this Hindenburg research, and you're like, all of a sudden, oh, we don't like Adani, we want him investigated. Like, really? What are you talking about? What do you mean you want him investigated? This man literally built infrastructure in India all over the country. With Adani, India is here. Without him, it's going to be here. This blows my mind. Some short seller wrote some research paper, and all of a sudden, you're like all against Adani? Like, really? So the fundamentals of his businesses are incredible. Now, a lot of people, there are a lot of stock manipulation, things like that happen, and a lot of these folks, they sell their stake, or they cash out, they run away, things like that. All the things I see Adani has done, even if he has done some stock manipulation, which, they will be penalized, things like that, he'll have to pay some penalty, et cetera, but he used the proceeds as collateral because of the sky-high valuation of his stock and got loans from the banks. He used those money to buy new ports, coal mines. When these Oak community or all these Western media like, oh, we got to get rid of coal, we don't need any gas, we don't need any oil, things like that, what did Adani do? He went in and bought those coal mines all over the Western world. He bought those from Australia. Whenever people are like, oh, COVID, we don't know what to do with ports because everything is stuck, he went in and he bought the ports even from Israel the other day. He was with Benjamin Netanyahu. So these are very smart moves, and these are things that we should be proud of. Instead of blaming that guy for stock manipulation, stuff like that, this guy has built bridges and roads and infrastructures and things that are not immediately profitable. That's why they have a lot of debt on the books. This is not some software that you write on your dorm room and you become automatic billionaire the next day. It's not like that. He's building roads. He's taking care of ports. He's running airports. These are heavy, heavy investment industries. You need the government support. And that's where another allegation comes in. They're like, oh, he is giving his private jet to the prime minister. Like, so what? What do you think the prime minister is going to take? He's going to walk around, or in a bike? He's going to be biking in a campaign? Of course he needs a private jet, and if he needs to use Adani's jet, he'll use the Adani's jet. People are just so blown away. And the things he's doing, these are infrastructure projects. That means the beneficiary in the long run is the Indian population. The whole country would be benefited for years and years and years and decades and centuries for all the things that Adani is doing and Adani has done and Adani is planning to do. So we gotta calm down here. It's a couple of percent of stock manipulation just because he became, one of the richest men. It's not that he became richest man and he sold. Because if he did sell, it would have dropped drastically. He did not. He kept those stocks. Of course, his valuation is high. We can blame him all day. Oh, why is your valuation so high? You should be less wealthy on paper. This is not literal money that he's sleeping with. It's on paper. This is paper money we're talking about. So, there's no point to get all riled up because some guy looks very rich on paper. And by looking rich, he actually built things that changed the course of Indian civilization. Like, dude, I'm just blown away by some people's reaction. Like, oh, we need this investigation, that investigation. Wait. What he has done is absolutely terrific. He has changed the course of history. He has done some unbelievable things, and we should give him credit for that. He's an incredible entrepreneur. Most of India's billionaire wealth is all inherited. There is nothing new. This man comes out of nowhere, rags to riches story, and now we're all, stock manip. Man, have some respect for this man. I don't even live in India. I have got nothing to do with Adani, and I have so much respect for this man because of all the contribution he has made. And, guys, the thing is, at the end of the day, I don't see a whole lot of people affected by this at all. They're short-term debt holdings. They're very capable of paying that off. They might have to cut down some of their expenses and some of their planned expansions and things like that. And he did a response video for a couple of minutes. It was very honest, very transparent. He's not living some luxury life and things like that. He's a very family man, a great guy. So that's my point of view, that don't get all blown away by these stock situations. Stocks is not the company is not the stock. The fundamentals of Adani Group is absolutely impeccable. It's fantastic, and I do believe, because what's going to happen, Warren Buffett says, when everybody panics, or you should be greedy, and when everybody's greedy, you should panic. And now everybody's panicking, so this is a great time for you to pick up a bunch of their stock, instead of thinking, oh, this is going to be some sort of Vijay Mallya story. Whoa. This guy built infrastructure all over the country, and this is going to be some. It's a fantastic company. You should look at the company, not just the accounting. Oh, okay, they did some accounting through some inexperienced accounting firm. So what? They're going to hire an experienced accounting firm, and they're going to do accounting, because the things they do are very tangible stuff. These are electricity, these are gas, these are pipelines, these are ports. You can see it, you can feel it. These are tangible things. This is not some software they made up and then, they did some accounting fraud and like, oh yeah, we got some user base here, blah, blah, blah. No. So, this is where a lot of people even, when I did a video on Elon Musk, I told people that the amazing plan he has for this Twitter acquisition and, the Tesla, the fundamentals are so strong. Nobody listened. At that time, the Tesla stock was, I think, 120 or something at that time. Boom. Now it's almost close to 200, So fundamentals don't change. So this is Adani. I think the things he's doing, I'm very, very proud of him, because the other, a lot of the things might look good on the books. Like you got these TCS, $100 billion market cap. You got this Infosys, another 100 billion market cap. You got this Cognizant and all these bunch of companies. Now, their business is so different. They're just getting a contract and they're passing on the short-term liabilities to their vendors, and they're living a good life. But that's not how India can grow. For the growth of India, we need roads, we need electricity, we need gas, we need pipelines, we need energy. And that's what Adani provides. What Ambani did that time, I was just so blown away by the Jio and the success of Jio and the impact that Jio has on the entire Indian economy. You cannot count that. You cannot just say, oh, this is the impact Jio made. No, a farmer in the remote places of India has internet access today, high-speed internet, 4G LTE connection that they can use to communicate around the world. It wasn't possible before Ambani did brought the Jio. There were a bunch of other things. All those are obsolete. The same thing with Adani, what he is doing and the things he's planning to do, we should be supporting him instead of going crazy and trying to investigate this person. So that's my take on this Adani situation. I support him, and hopefully this video makes some sense. And thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Please do subscribe.